Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming today. I know that many of you are anxious for school to end, anxious for summer to officially start, and I'm so grateful that you took the time to fight the traffic nightmare that is southeastern Michigan at rush hour on a Friday afternoon in June to come out and to support the West Bloomfield Literary Garden. I've been asked a lot about how I thought of the idea for the garden. I know that I originally thought of Gatsby, planting some daisies and throwing a green solar light at them to represent Gatsby's doomed American dream. But I had also thought a lot about the transcendentalists and the beautiful New England spaces, especially Walden Pond, that inspired their writing. I went back and found the first email that I wrote about the idea. Do you know that I wasn't going to pitch it at first? October 7th, 2014, which I now realize is the anniversary of Edgar Allan Poe's death. Of course I can make a literary connection. Hi all. I had a fantastic idea for a grant this year to create a literary garden in the courtyard, perhaps even with some seeds from the gardens of famous authors. Emerson, Hawthorne, Thoreau, and Alcott come to mind. I had enlisted Josh Barkley's assistance as I would like to get soil samples, determine watering needs, not introduce invasive plants, etc. I will not have time to put this together the right way by the deadline. The idea came to me late this year, so I will meet with Josh and his Earth Club kids as well as my own students to more fully develop a plan for the next grant cycle. Joey Spano replied, Jen, I love the idea. Are you sure you can't string some basic ideas together to submit by Friday? The next day, October 8th, haha, it's done. Pat signed it this afternoon. I'm insane. I had no time to do this, but was so excited that I made it happen. You'll see, it's much bigger than a $500 project, but that will kick us off. Thanks for the constant encouragement. It was so much bigger than a $500 project. Much, much bigger than I could have imagined. What stands out to me now in reading that email exchange is that from the minute I pitched the idea, West Bloomfield had my back. That's been true from the moment I stepped into this building 17 years ago, and it's never been more true than it is today when I look at this garden. I have a lot of people to thank. First and foremost, I need to thank my daughter, Emily, my husband, Ken, my parents, my sister, and the rest of my family who are here today to support me. They have not only listened to me as I have lived and breathed this project nonstop, but they've stepped in to help me juggle being a mom, a teacher, and a fledgling literary gardener at every turn. My Uncle Jimmy made the ravens that guard the Poe plants. My Aunt Arlene advised me on the mulch. And my cousin David helps me get plants from the Hemingway house in Key West. And Emily, well, let me just say this. My poor kid visited the graves of important American authors long before she ever made it to Disney World. I'm sure that surprises absolutely no one. I'd like to thank the administration, especially Pat and Mara. Pat for having complete faith in me and allowing me the space and freedom to proceed with this project the way I wanted to, and Tamara for her health and wellness program. That program is part of what shifted my thinking about my classroom space. Eric Pierce, thank you for getting me a key after I locked myself in the courtyard. I really did, it was terrifying. And Eric Pace, thank you for keeping an eye on the garden from the best seat in the house. There would not be a garden without the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation. I cannot thank you enough for believing in this project from the start, and for Joey Spano for kicking me in the pants to move on this in the first place. If you are wondering what the WBEF does for our schools, please look no further. This project is entirely funded by grant money, prize money, and private donations. Because the WBEF provides grant opportunities each year to teachers, we have the chance to make our ideas a reality, ideas that would otherwise suffocate due to lack of funding. The WBEF helps to keep our schools innovative, creative, and energetic. I'm so grateful for your support. I need to thank each and every one of you who donated your time, your money, your wheelbarrows, your shovels and rakes, your sweat, your expertise, your children. From Ivan Katz at Great Lakes Landscaping, who drafted the plans for the garden and generously helped us with the materials we needed, to all of the students, parents, staff, friends, family, and community volunteers who shoveled, raked, hauled, dumped, spread, weeded. That week in August felt like it went on forever. To those of you who donated to the garden informally, or handed me a 20, or stuck gift cards in my mailbox, I am overwhelmed by the kindness and generosity of the community of people in my life. That includes the West Bloomfield Public Library. I am so excited to announce that they have made a donation to the Literary Garden in the best way possible by providing a deposit collection of books for students to check out once they are intrigued by the authors they discover in the garden. Thank you, all of you, so much for all that you've done and all that you continue to do to support the garden. There are several organizations that have supported the garden through generous grants, starting with the Garber Family Foundation, the Kurt Vonnegut Memorial Library, the Pittsburgh Plate Glass Public Education Leadership Community Grant, the Penguin Random House Teacher Awards for Literacy, and the Carton to Garden Middle High School Award. To them, I say thank you for the opportunities to pursue funding for big ideas in education through your amazing programs. 2 of those programs have direct ties to the West Bloomfield community through the Farber, Goldman, and Shad families. Thank you so much for helping me to secure the needed funding to get the garden the essentials it needed last summer. I really did need dirt for these plants. Thank you for helping me make a home for them. I've had the good fortune to work with the museums, homesteads, families, scholars, and organizations of authors, and even some of the authors themselves from around the country. They include Pearl S. Buck, Willa Cather, Eugenia Collier, Emily Dickinson, Sharon Draper, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Nathaniel Hawthorne, William Faulkner, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Nikki Giovanni, Ernest Hemingway, Zora Neale Hurston, Ken Kesey, Thomas Lynch, Carson McCullers, N. Scott Momaday, Flannery O'Connor, Holly Painter, Marge Piercy, Edgar Allan Poe, Theodore Rothke, John Steinbeck, Wallace Stevens, Mark Twain, Kurt Vonnegut, Alice Walker, Walt Whitman, and Jeff Zaslow. Even I am amazed at what my seed of an idea has grown into. Who knew that all you needed to do was ask? Finally, there are some very special people who have made this garden possible in ways that I can't possibly begin to explain. Kevin and Amy Goldman, Tim, Jim Corcoran, Danny Ann Connolly, Meg Lambert, and Melissa Telhelm. Thank you for being my go-to team on this project. Every time I have needed something, you've been there. I could not have done this without you. I would like to end on these words from Ray Bradbury, who is not in the garden because for Ray Bradbury, dandelions were his favorite flower. He's here. Yeah, he is. Everyone must leave something behind when he dies, my grandfather said. A child, or a book, or a painting, or a house, or a wall built, or a pair of shoes made, or a garden planted. Something your hand touched some way so your soul has somewhere to go when you die, and when people look at that tree or that flower you planted, you're there. Now we have some very special readers, and I'd like to introduce our first one. McKenna Murphy is a sophomore in my Honors American Literature class and has made 2 very special contributions to the Literary Garden this year. She will be reading a selection from Theodore Rothke.